I cannot hear anybody. Dr. Chukuma, you are talking, but I can't hear you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Good morning, everyone. Can you hear me now?
Loud and clear.
Thank you so much. I'm very happy that we are here today. The coordinator will take time to tell you more about Green STEM. My duty this morning is to welcome you and to tell you that we are happy to have you here, and also to tell you that we are loaded. We have so much to cover today. So just to set up the ground rules, rule number 1, if you're not speaking, please mute your mic. Number 2, if you want your face to be recorded, we have beautiful faces and handsome faces. If you want it to be captured, as you know, we are going to upload the program on our YouTube. If you want yours to be recorded, that's fine. If you don't want, that's not a problem. You can switch off or turn off your video. To the presenters, please, this is very, very, very tight. So you have only 15 minutes, both set up, presentation, and every other thing. So once it's 15 minutes, I want to apologize in advance because I'm going to stop you and call the next person. Please just understand with us because of time. So having said this, I want to introduce the coordinator of Green STEM ECF, Dr. Perpetua Eze-Dehen, to present her, to tell us more about Green STEM. Thank you so much.
Hello and good morning to everyone. As Chikuma said, so I'm Dr. Perpetua Eze-Dehen, and my background is in a chemical engineer. And I am privileged to be Green STEM coordinator. My role this morning at this time is to tell you a little bit more about who we are and what we do. So Green STEM ECF Nigeria is a registered non-governmental organization committed to advocating for the research, innovation, and commercialization of ideas as a pathway to achieving sustainable industrialization in Nigeria and Africa as a whole. Our organization draws its strength from a diverse members of Nigerian academics, researchers, professionals, practitioners, and innovators residing across the globe. These members come from a wide array of disciplines, including science, technology, engineering, mathematics, and medicine, as well as arts, law, management, and social sciences. This multidisciplinary composition reflects our belief that the complex challenges Nigeria faces today present golden opportunities for creating marketable products and services. And by fostering systematic interdisciplinary, multidisciplinary research, we aim to harness these opportunities for the benefit of our nation and continent. And hence, our ultimate goal is to promote the adoption of innovative solutions to the sustainable development challenges confronting Nigeria, our country. We emphasize that this solution must be supported by scientific methods and evidence-based management practices. Through our catalytic activities, we strive to contribute to the creation of an enterprise ecosystem where ideas can effectively translated into tangible products and services, addressing real-world problems faced by Nigerians, Africans, and the global community. The Green STEM Nigeria has made significant strides since its inception. We held our inaugural Green STEM Symposium in 2022 under the theme Rapid Industrialization of Nigeria, Fundamental Roles of Commercialization, Research, and Innovation. This event attracted international speakers and participants, setting the stage for robust discussion on the role of research and innovation in Nigeria's industrial future. And so, building on this success, our second symposium was in 2023, which focused on the critical interplay between government, research institutes, and companies in driving industrialization under the theme, The Theology of Industrialization, Government, Research Institutes, and Companies. And this year, our symposium explores an even broader theme, industrialization as the best systematic strategy to solve Nigeria's socio-economic problems. We believe that industrialization, when pursued as a comprehensive and integrated strategy, holds the key to addressing the socio-economic challenges that Nigeria faces today. In addition to our symposium, we are developing several other initiatives to further our strategy objectives. These include the Green STEM Summer School, the Green STEM mentorship aimed at nurturing the next generation of innovators. We have proceeded in establishing our Green STEM journal as well, which will serve as a platform for disseminating cutting-edge research and ideas. And as I mentioned before, the mentoring scheme is designed to guide and support emerging talents in the field. Membership in Green STEM is open to all Nigerians, whether residing in Nigeria or abroad, who share our vision of a sustainable industrialized future. And together, we aim to build a robust community of thinkers and doers who are committed to transforming our Nigerians and transforming Nigerians' challenges into opportunities for growth and development. Thank you. I think this is a nutshell of who we are. I'll hand it over to Dr. Chukwuma.
Thank you so much, Dr. Perpetua. I appreciate that. I don't know whether Dr. Uchenna is here. Dr. Ewu?
Hello, can somebody hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes, please.
Okay,
Yes, you can go ahead.
I just realized everything goes mute or silent. That's why I decided to check in.
Please, Dr. Agu, go ahead with your presentation, please.
Maybe he's talking and he's not muted. He has not unmuted himself. Let him check the microphone.
Yes, because he's okay. Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes,
Excellent.
we can hear.
Thank you so much, Dr. Chukuma. Yeah, thank you, everyone. Thank you, the management of this great organization, for the opportunity given to me to make this presentation today. So today, without wasting more time, I want to talk about how we can harness anaerobic digestion for renewable energy production in Nigeria. And simply because anaerobic digestion, to me, is a pathway to sustainable and affordable cooking gas in Nigeria. Not only cooking gas, we can also get electricity from it, as we can see when we go through my presentation today. Can we go to the next slide, please?
Okay, I think his network threw him off.
Can you see the slide?
No.
Okay, I will reshare it.
Okay.
Can you see it now?
Yes.
Okay, Dr. Ebo, can you see it? Okay, go ahead, sir. Please go ahead, Dr. Ebo. Hello? You are muted. Dr. Ebo, you are muted.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead. Can you see your slide now?
Yeah, I can see it. Sorry,
Okay.
guys. I'm really at a holiday destination, so the network here is not very strong. Sorry. We're just struggling with network here. Yeah. So I'm going to talk you through it. Was so passionate to my heart, and which I spent nearly 5 years doing, to travel things that we can do to solve our recalcitrant energy problem in Nigeria, which has developed all solutions so far for many years. So hello?
Yeah, we can't hear you, but we can hear you now.
Okay. So to get straight to the point, we are going to talk about methane gas, which is the major constituent or component of biogas. And biogas is simply the gas you get from biological systems, biological materials. For the biogas is from biology. Of course, when we talk about biology, we talk about the sense of living things, plants and animals. So we can see animals there, we can see plants there. To the next slide, please. Next slide, please. Yeah. So through my presentation, you understand digestion. Some people may be hearing the word for the first time. You know, we're going to look at what we call psychophilic. Next slide, please. Yeah. So you can see my experimental setup. Can you go back to the reactors, please? You can see my experimental setup. Can you hear me?
No.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Oh, sorry, the network is horrible. So I'm going to talk you through what I did. This is a sample of my reactors. So I had 6 of them. 2 were run at psychophilic temperature, that's 25 degrees, which is similar to the temperature we have in Nigeria. Then another was run at mesophilic. Then the last pair was run at thermophilic temperatures. And I used palm bunch ash extract to optimize the process because here in the UK and in the Western countries, what they use is expensive trace elements, which are too expensive, especially if we convert the costs to Naira, is something that many people may not be able to afford. So in order to bridge that gap, of affordability, I used our local content, which ash from Nigeria, from palm bunch, which we have in vast quantity, and then I was able to extract the trace nutrients from palm bunch and used it to optimize my process. It wasn't only the trace nutrient that I extracted from the palm bunch, I also got alkalinity. Palm bunch, when we, incinerate it and get the ash, and then extract it using simple chemistry, we get alkaline materials like sodium hydroxide, potassium hydroxide, calcium hydroxide. Some of those chemicals are very essential in the production of biogas because here in the UK and many other Western countries, they use alkaline materials to soften, the cell walls of plants. Like we know, cell walls are very strong and they are resistant to degradation. So, biodegradation. So, what we use in the lab to achieve that is chemicals like the alkaline chemicals. Can we go to the next one, please? So I've already explained how I did the first pair was cyclophilic. Now straight to methodology. We measure the temperature, or I measure the temperature. You can see the different temperatures, the thermophilic, the cyclophilic, and the mesophilic. And from the local biomass pump ash, I analyzed in the lab and was able to identify several essential chemicals that are needed for microbial metabolism because the microbes need to feed very well and be healthy to be able to break down our biomass to give the bioenergy. So these are the composition of the palm bunch we have in Nigeria, the ash from it. Can we go to the next one, please? Next slide. Yeah, I also measured the ammonium content. Back to ammonia content in my reactor. Why? Because ammonium nitrogen has the nitrogen needed for the formation of the proteins in the cells of microorganisms. Like I said, just as human beings need balanced nutrients, proteins and all that, microbes also need that. So we measure the ammonia content. That's what you're seeing, ammonia nitrogen. Ammonia nitrogen in the bioreactor also helps us to establish the fertilizer properties of the digestate we're going to get at the end of the day. One, we use it to check the health of the bioreactor system. We also use it to establish if the digestate we're going to get will be used as fertilizer, because anaerobic system produces everything that promotes circular economy. Biogas for our heating, cooking, and for electricity. Then you have the digestate for fertilizer application. You have the VFA, volatile fatty acid, which can be used to produce a lot of industrial products like plastics, the degradable plastics that are bio-friendly, eco-friendly. So I also checked alkalinity. Like I told you, I was able to chemically quantify the potassium hydroxide, sodium hydroxide in the palm bunch, and the results were really amazing. You can see the graphs showing how the alkalinity varied over 40 days that I ran this experiment. Can we go to the next slide, please? Yeah, this is the volatile fatty acid, which is of very high industrial value. A lot of chemicals we use around our environment are produced from VFA, volatile fatty acid. So I produce a lot of them in my bioreactors. You can see how the curve goes up, which means if Nigeria adopts this, we'll be producing some elementary chemicals that will help us in our industrialization. Can you hear me, please?
Yes, we can hear you now. You can continue from here.
So you can see the VFAs, from my reactors. If you notice, when you are looking at the graph, at a point, everything went like 0. That's between the 55 or 58 till through the 92 or thereabouts. That was the time we had a disturbance in the system. Remember, the biomass I worked with is lignocellulosic biomass. When we call a biomass lignocellulosic, it means that it has lignin content in high amount. Lignin are just those recalcitrant part of the plant that are resistant to biodegradation. Okay, they are phenolitic substances. Invariably, they resist anything microbes and they do everything possible to inhibit it. So during the course of running this reactor for 140 days, because I wasn't continuing the addition of the feedstock from animal source like animal dunks and so on, it got to a point alkalinity dropped. Okay, everything dropped. So I gave a gap, okay, between those days to enable the reactor to recover. Because when bioreactor suffers from overloading, the ideal thing we do as experts is to give it a time for the microorganisms to grow back. That is that gap you see in between. But apart from that, you can see that everything still continued working very well when we restarted the reactor. So that's the graph showing you VFA, the economic importance of what we can get from the bioreactor. Next slide, please.
You have 4 minutes, please.
Yes, now the main thing, the biogas. You can see that throughout the 140 days, there was consistent production of methane, and the value of the methane we produced ranged from around 27% up to 80%, and average at about 68%, which means the biomass feedstock we have in Nigeria can actually give us up to 68% of biogas, which is a very good thing. Next slide, please. Then when we plot the cumulative graph against the daily curve, we get what we have here, which is still consistent. Yeah. So in summary, okay, during the hydraulic retention hydraulic retention is just the time it takes a particular biodegradation to complete, which I ran at 25 days interval. Okay. During the first one, we can see that reactor 2 and 3 with the mesophilic gave the best yield. Okay. During HIQ2, we can also see that the mesophilic, that's R3 and R4, gave the best yield. During the HR3, sorry, the last one is supposed to be HR3, we can see that the mesophilic reactor R2 and R4 failed because of the overloading, because methanogens, which are responsible for conversion of biomass to biogas, always suffer shock if there's an adverse condition. That's the simple explanation of why at the HR3, R3 and R4 had the least production, because methanogens suffer shock. Let's go to the next slide. Remember, I did a lot of biological analysis, DNA and all that, but I didn't want to bog us with adding those things to this presentation to make it less technical for everybody to cope. At the end of the day, we conducted correlation analysis and also 2 sample t-test analysis. And we saw that the reactors that were run in pairs at each selected temperature had a very high correlation, which means within an aggregate temperature that are specific for an operation, the biomass and the biogas production were similar. Okay. Then, okay. Since you've gone to this one, let's move on. So the VFA we got.
Your time is up, sir. Just can you conclude?
Okay, let's just go to conclusion. Mesophilic reactions provide the highest yield, but cyclophilic, which is 25 degrees, they give the lowest yield, but they're the best for Nigeria because we don't need to spend money in heating and all that. So it's okay for Nigeria. Then VFA can be used for a lot of things in the country, like production of bioplastic and chemicals for promoting local economic growth. Then nutrient-rich digestates can be used to produce organic fertilizer, which is something I'm also a specialist in doing. Then the next slide. Next slide. So there are recommendations. We can investigate other biomass under cyclophilic. Since Nigeria has a lot of biomass, we can even get some that can work at normal temperature, Nigerian temperature, and give us the best yield. So we need some to be done. I've used anti-palm bunch. We can try other crop ash extract and see how they can promote this, which I did with almost 7 different ash, which I will not bother you in this particular presentation because of time. And also, we need to promote the use of biomass energy to power our economy and industry, and also to see how we produce clean solution for our energy needs. Next slide. Thank you so much for listening. Sorry for the interruption from the internet connectivity. We hope to have much time in the future. More detailed stuff from my investigation for the past 5 years, covering almost 25 biomass from Nigeria. Thank you so much, and God bless you.
Okay, thank you so much for that presentation. Well appreciated. It is my honor to introduce our keynote speaker. I don't know whether he's here. Dr. Raj Shankar Priya is from Loughborough University. Dr. Raj, are you here?
Yes, I am here, Dr. Chukwuma.
Thank you so much. We are very grateful to have you here. Actually, you can see Dr. Ewu is on holiday. Dr. Raj is in Australia, but he, decided to honor this invitation to come and share knowledge with us. Please, can you share your slide and
yes,
then make
I'll
a
do
presentation? Thank you.
Just give me 1 second. Yes, I think you could all see my presentation now,
we can
right?
see it. Yes, yes.
I'm so glad to join you all. Dr. Chukwuma is my esteemed colleague at the university, and for a short note, I just came back yesterday and I lost my luggage, I mean, someone stole my bag on the train, and I had my shaving machine as well there. So I couldn't even shave today, So I just joined, it was a shame because I was traveling for 40 days. Nothing happened, and I just landed in London and everything went, wrong.
I'm sorry to hear that, sir.
Oh, no worries.
Yeah.
So thank you so much once again for this opportunity. I'll be pretty much on time, bang on time. It's 2020. I'll be finishing around 20 minutes. Maybe we can have a quick 10-minute session of questioning as well, if anyone has questions. Today, my topic would be more on industrialization through an academic partner and why Germany is doing it in a successful way. I'll give you some context. To start with, a little bit of context about me. I've worked in Germany at Fraunhofer for 15 years. Fraunhofer is possibly the pinnacle of applied research. I worked as head of technology, and also, in my stints, I've worked with several different industries in Germany, mainly manufacturing, automotive, but starting from SME to possibly till Airbus. So this was the scale of the size of the industrial relationship which we worked. But on the same side, I worked very closely with the European Commission from 2009 to 2012. And then I also worked with the EU-India framework of science and technology from 2013 to 2014. So I have some, I have a kind of a decent experience in industrial academic relationship. So I'll possibly give you an insight of what Germany is doing right now and why Germany is actually a successful case study. First thing first, we shouldn't be comparing any country to another country because, Nigeria has a much bigger potential than Germany right now as we speak. And you are supposed to be, really, booming up until 2050, when you will be the third largest population in the whole world. So there is quite a lot of scope, and we have a very different history. If I would say Nigeria has a very different history to Germany, the imperialism has had an impact. So please don't take this as a kind of a very brutal or blunt comparison between Germany and Nigeria as we are, but I'll just let people know in a nutshell what is important and why Germany is successful, and that's it. So, and then maybe we can just discuss about other things, in our Q&A session. To start with, what is actually the question is, what is Germany's main industrialization strategy? So, we all speak, even in the UK, we have an industrial strategy, which is very active the past 10 years now to revive UK's manufacturing, which, we all know UK in 1600s to 1700s started the Industrial Revolution. and they were very successful, you know, in doing it. And as we speak, I know Chukwuma is from Manchester. I'm from the north of England. And this is exactly where, you know, the industrialization really started up, you know, Manchester, Leeds, you know. So, but if you really look on what Germany's industrialization strategy is currently, and we all know, you know, as customers now, we, you know, we have a very different focus than what we used to be before, you know. So I'll just go and make a kind of a small, you know, history session. Maybe 150 years before, or literally 175 years back, you know. So if you really look at carriage production, you know, here in the UK, so it was pretty much, you know, top of the value chain. So UK made some excellent production, pretty much customized in a way. You know, people were super satisfied. Customers were super satisfied. But the difference was the lead time, you know. So if you really want to get your carriage done in a customized way with high quality, then, you know, the lead time was 6 to 8 months, you know. So you really had to wait for some time till you really get your next order in, you know. So, and people had the time, patience to really do it because they were not doing it in a mass scale, you know. So, but then just fast forward 100 years from 1850, we're talking about the Volkswagen, or even the Ford, really the model of mass production, you know, in a scale where, you know, industries were really pumping out cars, thousands of cars every day, you know, so into America and Germany, or in Western Europe. And this was pretty much on the mass production scale where, you know, we all know mass production is pretty simple, you know, so in a way, because you really know your supply chain, you know what is expected from the customers. Literally, the customers are absent there because you produce something. It's all make to order and make to stock, and this just deliver, you know. So, and this was quite a success story in Germany. And if you really look, Germany's notorious past, you know, 1945 to 1955, you know, Germany was completely destructed, you know, so destroyed to a great extent, you know. So, and we know why, because of the war. But Germany had you know, really had this blueprint of mass production with two world wars. So they really knew how to really produce ammunition at a very quick scale, and also the tanks and the planes, you know. So they had this really good industrial strategy, you know, so how to really work out, you know, on a mass production scale. So Germans were very successful, and America actually took this blueprint further, you know. So, and so Germany, and in 1965, Germany was possibly the #1 country in the whole world in terms of economical growth. Because they could really pump out a lot of automation related technologies in a very quick scale, in a mass order, you know. So, and now just go to the paradigm where we are now from 2019 onwards, where we really started to do customization, you know. So, and if you really look and you want to go and buy a car, any car, let it be Audi, let it be anything, you know. So you could really customize. There are several you know, options where a customer can really select, choose. And if you really look at Audi, Audi has around 10 million variants, you know, so 10 million variants for one particular company. And just imagine, most of you know, manufacturing is pretty much constrained with boundaries, you know, so you really want to really be sure in order to really make that manufacturing plan happen. But then with 10 million variants and with a lot of customers all around the world, it is quite a challenging task, you know. So obviously customers are increasingly requiring highly individual parts in a mass production scale. So we have moved from mass production into 1950 to now mass customization, you know. So that requires a lot of strategy change, you know. So, and now we know Industry 4.0 is a German word, but then, you know, the Germany really understood automation is such an important aspect, but also getting into a scale of where we are right now in terms of mass customization is going to require a lot of effort, you know, in terms of technology, in terms of how things make. And I think Germany is possibly, I mean, safely, possibly the world's top 3 in terms of providing technology, which enables us to provide mass customization, but also in a very high quality, you know. So not like, you know, okay, I can do mass customization, but in a low quality. And that's exactly where Germany is really successful. So this is possibly the core of industrialization for Germany. And also, I would say for most of the Western European countries, and also in America and Japan, you know, so this is pretty much in their DNA, you know. So, and then if you, again, comparison, we're not going to really go and do one-to-one comparison, but if you really look the GDP and Nigeria, there is a difference. But again, Nigeria is going to be the third largest country in the whole world in terms of population in 2050. Obviously, the GDP is going to increase, but still there is more focus on natural gas and some crude oil, whereas Germans are pretty much, if you really look on any sector, even in the vehicles, chemicals, and electrical equipment sector, there is quite a lot of dependency on technology and in terms to quite a dependency on knowledge. So rather than let's say natural resource, because Germany has absolutely no natural resource whatsoever. So but they're still very successful because the knowledge base is what they concentrate on. So technology is possibly the key concept for them. So knowledge base is translating into pretty much a university way of understanding. So if I would be a normal layman, I would say knowledge is derived from university, or knowledge comes from university in one way, which is correct. But there are also other forms in Germany, which I'll explain. I'm pretty sure, to 2024, as I really look now from the economic side of view, China has really gone up. But Nigeria will soon pop up now by end of this decade, so in 2030, maybe, Nigeria is possibly coming up in the world's top 10 or maybe top 20, so with the potential what Nigeria has, so. And if you really look, there is still a difference. The difference is how we focus on research, in Germany. Just a small anecdote here, in 1950, when India got its independence, pretty much, I'm not sure exactly when Nigeria got the independence, but India got it in 1947. In India is spoken now a lot in terms of East-East technology transfer. There used to be North-West or North-South technology transfer. Now East-East technology transfer is happening from India to Southeast Asia or East Africa, so. And this was, and India laid this idea of developing its own technology in terms of medical space right in 1940s, 1945, immediately after independence. So immediately after independence, the first Prime Minister of India first visits Germany, and he visits Konrad Adenauer, who was then Chancellor in Germany, and he says, "Now tell me, what should India do to be successful in 70, 75 years?" So because we just got the independence, they do. And what Konrad Adenauer says is nothing. He just opens the window, and it was back in Bonn, his windows, and he says, "Look at this outside." So there are 3 universities there, just pretty much close to us. So, and this is exactly what India needs to do. You need to build universities. So, and universities is possibly the first importance where really start thinking of long-term project. Again, the Chinese way of looking at is, if you really want to develop, growth, if you really look at growth, you have only a simple formula. Either, you build infrastructure, growth will follow, or you build knowledge and growth will follow. And if you really look Oxford, Cambridge, Stanford, MIT, or the German model, so it's all based on knowledge, putting a lot of money and investment in R&D and getting things done in the future, so. And that's why we have a university which is 500, 600 years in the, like Oxford, Cambridge, and they're pretty much successful. And because there is so much of emphasis in knowledge growth, so. But there is also risk, because R&D involves a lot of risk. I know pretty much, in Southeast Asia, the governments don't rely on R&D mechanisms because they think the professors, they just take the money and they just don't do anything, so, or the impact is pretty much nothing, so. But Germany, on the other side, there is quite a lot of investment going on R&D. If you really look on 2021, I didn't have the last 2 years strategy data, but 2021 is possibly the perfect data what I could get. So Germany spends around 110 billion euros in R&D, and that's relatively high GDP, like South Korea or Japan, where you spend around 2 to 3%. Germany is pretty much on the higher end of that. So Germany spends 3% of its GDP, whereas if you really look on Nigeria's research expenditure, yes, there is a problem because it's relating to 0.1 to 0.2%. So what that means is there is no trust on research, or the system believes that people who do research cannot be trusted. So I don't know how to really put that into focus, but this is possibly the message what I could get on. So again, education-wise, Germany puts a lot of focus on getting people educated, literally for free of cost. So with so much of subsidies also for living. even much better than the UK. So the education budget of $155 billion is euros is 75% of actually the UK's budget. So Germany is way ahead in thinking of how people need to be focusing on education rather than anything. Because, as I said before, Germany is one country where they don't have a lot of natural resource, and they have not done a lot of. I mean, if you really look, Germany has maybe, beyond the war, maybe Namibia and Chile are possibly the two countries closely associated with Germany in an international context, in terms of their own ideology, So otherwise, Germany did not go anywhere else, So they were only focusing on their own, building up on their own knowledge, So again, if you're talking about 5% of budget going on to education, is quite significant. Whereas Nigeria spends pretty much, I just digged in today early in the morning, around 1.7 to 2%, which is okay. But when compared to the GDP, it's the factor of over 100 times, what Germany is putting in terms of its education budget. So there is a significant difference, between Germany and I'm not saying Nigeria here, but I can take any statistics also from an Indian perspective, so we are still less, or any growing nation from BRICS, so Brazil, Russia, China, so China is a bit different. China is really focused out now on more spending in R&D and research, because they understood that Germany, for a long-term growth, it's more the knowledge than the infrastructure, which really helps, So this is exactly where we are right now. And if you really look, the education system as a whole in Germany, school system is pretty much regulated. People can really understand, pretty much from an early age what they really want to focus. So at the end of year 3, year 4, this is exactly the primary sector. And once the primary sector is over, Germany really focuses who needs to be focusing on academic studies, so, and they are put in a different school. And this is a joke because, you're just year 4, but then Germany is really trying to segment you and try to profile you and say, you might end up getting into a PhD. So let's focus you on a different side. So they go to the gymnasium, and people who really do the vocational part of it, because Germany also thrives in vocational training. So they really get a different set of education, so into vocational school and technical college education. And that's why Germany is really, they can really maintain the balance between building a vocational skill set and also an academic skill set, so, and not many countries really understand this. And it takes also a lot of time and effort to really make this understanding happen. And in short, they really focus on high performance paradigm. Germany is pretty much all about, the education system is all about not only ability to think, but also ability to execute. And if you really relate to what we do in our normal lives, so if I'm able to think well, but if I'm not able to execute, then we can become a loser or dreamer. But if I cannot think or execute, I become a loser. But most of the time we can execute things, but we are not able to think, then become under-efficient performers. But Germany focuses pretty much on high performance. That means the education system is teaching you how to think, but also how to really execute that as well. How to really bridge this gap, So, and this is exactly Germany is focusing from its side. And if you really look, this is an interesting framework. If you talk about research, university research is only one research we all know. But Germany, university research is completely different. If you really look at Max Planck or any academies, or the research infrastructures which is happening, the universities do some kind of basic research, fundamental research, so which takes its blue sky research, and it takes ages, 100 years, 200 years to really understand, So, whereas an institution like Fraunhofer, where I really worked for several years, we really focus on solving industrial problems, So industry tells us what the problem they have, and we are solving them because we are thinking 10 years ahead of us, because we get some money for us to do some active demand-based research, which propels the whole system. Because now let's imagine in 10 years time, if an industry is going to develop an AI generative something, we already know now, so as a research institution, this is exactly what they are going to really come in and start thinking of it. But once they have arrived, a company has arrived there, then we can actually facilitate them to actually fast track their research. And that's how they can really make Germany as a very competitive partner, So, And this is exactly what German idea is. So they really break down research into two areas. One is the basic research and one is applied research. And then they really focus on where to concentrate. But then the industrial research associations are so closely related, so to research. So there is no way, they are all independently working, Even in the UK, I really feel that this is not happening because industries have their own research units and universities do their own research, so blue sky, and sometimes they don't match. Most of them, they don't match, So, but in Germany, there is very, very less, the situation is very less likely to happen because they have natural research partners to really go on. Again, if I can simplify this a little bit, let's imagine if I'm an SME and I'm developing a technology XYZ, but if I don't have the research lab to really focus on my research, what do I do? In a normal world, you don't have any access, or only bigger companies like the top tech companies, the top 50 companies might build their own R&D because they have the facility, but then the rest of the ecosystem, which is the SMEs, will all disappear. And Germany says most of the time, the backbone of any company should be the small, medium scale companies, and the top tech companies, the top 50 companies, they have their own money. So Germany is focusing on the reverse end of the smaller companies. And they say, if you want to have research, go and do research with our already established institutions like Helmholtz or Fraunhofer, because they can facilitate your research, So you don't have to really open up a research center. And this is why Germany is really successful. Please note down, for any country, if you're talking about development and industrialization strategy, we should be focusing the top 5 or top 10 companies what the country has. It should be the reverse. It should be the bottom 99% which needs to be focused. So, and this is exactly what Germany is doing. So Fraunhofer, and in a short note, they have an annual budget of $3 billion. So 3 billion euros. And if you really look at their own research portfolio, so they really make around 600 inventions or patents every single year, So, and that's the scale of what Germany is doing, So in their own research institutions. And Fraunhofer is one among them. If you take Max Planck, this is more fundamental, So the immunology, the pathology, the cancer research, or any biological research, is happening here. But again, with a budget of around 3 billion euros, And Leibniz is again more like a Fraunhofer model, but with a bit of less like budget there, So and Helmholtz, they really look on the grand challenges, which is for the next 20, 30, 40 years in research, So these are some examples of research institutions which normally has a kind of a base there, So, and obviously you don't end up, you don't discount the university research as well. So Germany has around 500 educational institutions, 211 universities. So these are also a kind of a backbone into Germany, So which is providing kind of a backbone into the existing infrastructure of growth, So I'm going to stop now because I think we have like 5 minutes time, or 10 minutes, 5 minutes. But I want possibly to open up the forum and have some discussion going on, maybe ask a couple of questions if you have, and then, I can end up, so if there are no questions.
Thank you so much. Yeah. Do you have any question? Any question?
No questions. That's scary because then I've not done anything.
No, there's a question. I am interested in the SME. Can you shed more light on how those research institutes support SMEs, please?
Yes, I can give you an example, right? Just imagine if you and I run a company in let's say textile industry, textile, or let's say automotive, which is pretty much close. So I'm a component supplier for an automotive industry, and then suddenly I have a problem in one of my CNC machines. I'm looking for a 5-axis CNC machine because that gives me a competitive advantage in automation and also in types of zero defect manufacturing. So, and how would I get an access for a 5-axis machine being an SME? Pretty expensive. These machines are expensive. But what you can do is you could really go and do some work in some of these institutions, who possibly have these machines already set up for you. And if you want to have to solve a particular problem in your particular work, you just go and get the access to that institution. And you just pay for that small part of it. But also institutions, also governments give you tokens, so like innovation tokens for SMEs where they can access any research facilities literally for free with those tokens, so because Germany thinks, if that is already addressed, then German SMEs will be much more competitive than any other SMEs, and then they will, make. Obviously, SMEs are employed by people where they'll also pay tax, and that will also come back to the economy. So, and that's the whole understanding of how SMEs are worked out. If I'm an MNC, if I'm a multinational company, I don't have to worry because I can either buy things or I can set up my own R&D unit and make things happen. But as an SME, I cannot do it. And that's why these research institutions really work out. So that's a kind of a natural partnership. And if you really look who these institutions, the institutions are governmental institutions, the research institutions, they are headed by university professors because the university professors give a kind of a research idea where those institutions need to focus, in the future. Because now, Chukuma, you are a university professor, and in that context, you are doing research for the future. You are telling the future, this is exactly what you need to focus on. That's the whole part of it, so, and then Germany gives you the money as well in order for you to really address the research, so, and when the time is ripe, when the SMEs come to you in the future, you are really there. You don't have to really think, because research is a long-term business. It's not easy, right? That's the whole point of it, so.
Yeah, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Dr. Akande, please ask your question.
Yes, please. You're on mute. You're on mute, doctor.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Dr. Raj, for your presentation. I've actually learned a lot from your insights. My first comment is about how Germany made such a success trial, and I'm just wondering, because in any project there are always some risk or challenges, initial challenges that one needs to face. So, learning from the success story that we have heard from Germany, if Nigeria is to adapt or adopt the similar strategy, what are the kinds of challenges that Germany actually faced at the inception of their international journey? And taking the lesson from Germany, how can Nigeria, leverage their strategy they actually navigated to make them to come out better? Thank you.
Fantastic question. This is really a good question because there's so much of risk involved in any kind of research, So, but doctor, Germany has a very different respect towards science, So, and also there is so much of trust given to professors, So professorships, So academics are treated really well. And that already answers 90% of my question because there is so much of trust given to any professor. And in Germany, there is a strong correlation between time and wisdom. The more time you take in research, the more wise you become. But if you really take a developing economy like India, there is no patience at all, in terms of research. They want to have an immediate impact, after spending some money, and that cannot happen because research can be only maybe 1-2% successful. So if you really look on the Fraunhofer statistics, out of 10,000 ideas, only 4 to 5 ideas materialize. But those 4 to 5 ideas are like massive. The LED brings, Fraunhofer, I don't know how many millions every year in terms of patent money, So if you talk MP3 is a Fraunhofer concept, spectrometers, they are really, big patents, so which earns money. But you need patience. And I'm telling to any country, and especially to Nigeria, maybe, have trust on your academics and patience, is important. And don't involve politicians in any scientific forums because they don't understand science. I have to be honest here, So, and Germany doesn't do that, So because if you want to be involved in a scientific forum, you need to be a professor or an academic, So to do it.
Thank you so much. Our time is up. We really appreciate your contribution. I'm sorry, Justice, because of time, we will not take more questions. Thank you so much,
Thank
Dr.
you all,
Yeah.
and I wish you all the best. I wish you all the best as well. Yes.
Thank you. Thank you. Dr. Salisu Uba, are you here, please? Dr. Uba Salisu.
Yes, I'm here if you can hear me.
Yeah, please go ahead and share your slide and make your presentation. Thank you.
All right. I'm not sure if you can see my screen.
Not yet.
Okay.
Yeah, we can see it now. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, thank you very much, everyone. Good afternoon. My name is Dr. Salisu Uba, and I'm joined by my, co-author and of course CTO of NatQuest. Our presentation for today is focusing on demand expertise in supply chain management. It is a conceptual approach to enhancing resilience and competitiveness in the era of Industry 4.0. Right. A bit of background. Of course, we are now, I don't want to say this, but in Nigeria, I don't believe we have reached the level of Industry 4, or rather the Industrial Revolution. But again, there are so many opportunities we can tap into from, the synergy between Industry 4 technology or enabled technologies and how our industries, particularly functional industries, could leverage these technologies. At the bottom of that, no industry or business can succeed without efficient management of their supply chain. Supply chain, like I do always refer to, is the engine, right, that powers the capability of any industry to efficiently and effectively deliver whatever they do. Now, with the integration of technologies like IoT, AI, big data is obviously transforming supply chain. Think about today, you're using, Amazon Prime, you're using Uber. These solutions are powered to ensure what efficient delivery of products and services, from extracting raw material or access to raw material down to the finished goods. Now, digital transformation in supply chain is quite important because it is shaping how supply chain operates. It's also driving more agility, flexibility, and responsiveness. I mean, we've seen the impact of COVID and how businesses have really struggled to, come back to normal. Now, why do we need expertise? As supply chain evolves, we have more complexity in supply chain. One of the cardinal principles of any supply chain is the management of information, the management of material, and of course, the key aspect, which is the people. People are integral to the success and the management of any supply chain management, but access to experts in supply chain is even more challenging in today's world. Now, some of the complexities, perhaps as we might be aware of, includes complexity in procurement, laws are changing, government priorities are changing, lack of spending, not just in Nigeria, but including the UK, the NHS is struggling, and many other sectors. So there is significant concern in terms of flexibility, but of course, complexity of supply chain management. Another key important aspect is the resistance when it comes to innovative solutions within supply chain. This ranges from operational inefficiencies and, of course, lack of adoption to new market dynamics. Our key question here is, how can organizations leverage on-demand expertise to address these challenges and obviously remain competitive? So for us, what does on-demand expertise mean? On-demand expertise refers to the practice of accessing supply, specialized expertise and skills as needed, instead of focusing or maintaining the only capabilities that you have in-house. Now, the integration of supply chain and the on-demand model is really important because it allows organizations to tap into external expertise to address specific challenges, improve flexibility and responsiveness. So for us, we developed a model called the on-demand solution for SCM. So this is centered around two cardinal areas. Number one, the strategic importance to the business, and obviously the dynamics and complexity of the expertise. And I'll give you an example. You could have any business that is not into manufacturing or co-operation productions may not understand the dynamics and significance of supply chain expertise. That is why it's not every business that can leverage the full potential of on-demand solutions. So based on this model, the moment you have a strategic or high needs, or you understand that the strategic importance to the business is very high and the dynamic and complexity of the expertise is very high, then we actually develop this model to be able to support businesses. For example, with access to strategic expertise, these are subject matter experts. These are individuals that are having high skills but are limited. Of course, they cannot move to a certain location. Secondly, we are talking about efficient management of complex tasks. I mean, I will give you an example. Over the recent days, we have seen the complexity of Dangote sourcing for crude oil to power his refinery. Key strategy to this is about sourcing strategy. And I believe, I'm not underestimating that they have done their best, but truly there is a lot of challenges and complexity around sourcing, right? And only experts that understand what sourcing critical raw materials will really support. So efficient management of complex tasks, enhanced decision making because you have access to expertise from all over the world. Agility and response to industry changes always happen, right? And this is what the models can give you based on the dynamics of the strategic importance to the business and the dynamics of and complexity of the expertise. So what are the key challenges of on-demand expertise? Based on our conceptual approach, we understand that despite the fact that on-demand solution offers significant opportunities of enhancing supply chain management practices, for example, in terms of flexibility, responsiveness, and efficiency, of course, there is also significant challenges, right? For example, some of these opportunities, like I said, flexibility, responsiveness, and efficiency. On the other hand, the challenges ranges from dependency risk, especially when organizations are getting what they want, when they need it, at a very flexible and cost-effective way. They may be really dependent on that. There's also integration complexity, as organizations may not understand the importance and the model and the process of integrating on-demand solutions into their existing models, then perhaps you may have that limitations. And then balancing act, which is, of course, knowing what to outsource, or what to leverage on-demand expertise, or what to keep in-house. It's just like introducing make or buy, right? Which is quite an obvious strategy. So if you don't balance the act, then perhaps based on our understanding of this model, you may have a lot of challenges. So the business model focuses on strategic management, and this is really important because businesses need to understand the significance of the expertise and the importance it has to their businesses, and then integrate on-demand expertise whenever there is absolute need, right? Business model implication, organization may need to adopt their model to accommodate new way of working. We all know what is happening today. There is a lot of shift in the way we work, right? With the hybrid model, with the remote model, with the freelancing model. All these are really, really changing the way we work. There's a lot of pressure in terms of businesses adopting to new model of working and all of that. So for us, the key consideration here is, understanding your right path, managing cost, and ensuring that on-demand expertise align with the overall business goal, which is very critical. Now, how does this align with Industry 4, right? We believe the whole concept of on-demand expertise is around innovation, right? By ensuring that experts can be accessible to especially businesses that may not have the right capabilities, especially, for example, in Nigeria, there are some skills that we are not really fortunate to have them. So we can leverage on-demand skills and experts from other industrialized and, of course, places where they have done it before, they have the experience. Flexibility, which is external expert helps organization adapt quickly to changing market conditions and based on technological advancement. And trust me, this is very key because one of the key things that we are seeing today, especially with the adoption of emerging technologies, is the speed at which things are happening. So flexibility is very key. Efficiency is about specialized knowledge that leads to more efficient processes and cost savings for supply chain operations. Every product that you could...
Doc, please, you have 3 minutes. Thank you.
Okay. So innovative platforms, which is also very key, I'll go to. So we have a case study, which is the STFGS network. My co-founder should have chipped in, but because of time, basically this is a platform that leverages on innovative solutions to help businesses access expertise at when needed for project, contingent work, or even daily support across different industries. For our conclusion, we believe that this study is a conceptual approach, and it offers significant opportunity for businesses to enhance supply chain practices, particularly within the context of Industry 4. For us, the key takeaway here is whilst there is a lot of challenges in implementing new models, particularly related to dependency and integration, we are absolutely keen that this will give businesses opportunity to build strategic competitiveness. So for us, for the future outlook is this may increase, real expertise for businesses in Nigeria to tap into expertise, and of course for experts in Nigeria to also offer their expertise on demand, which could lead to an effective and implementation of key strategies. So thank you very much indeed. And if you have any question, we are more than happy to chip in.
Julius, go ahead and ask your question.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Salisu, for the great presentation. And I love the innovation in your work. I was just wondering some aspect that you've kept maybe quiet, like so outsourcing some of these services. Have you considered the financial implication to the businesses? Because I mean, every business is about making profit. So in as much as something is good, if it's not, if it is going to impact their profit, then they may think otherwise, and that will affect the rate of adoption. So have you given any thought toward that? Thank you.
Thank you for the very interesting question. I think the whole concept of on-demand is around, cost effectiveness, right? Because traditionally what happens is if you need a subject matter expert, right, or you need to outsource some capabilities within key areas that are not your core business or your core capabilities, you have to go for very expensive consultants, big companies that are into consulting to be able to offer those expertise to you or support that you need. But with on-demand solutions, you are basically engaging experts and solution providers basically on the things that you only need. So that means you are only paying a fractional amount of, the cost compared to if you are to hire someone internally, or perhaps you are to outsource it to a big consulting company or big company. So this is really about, I think one of the key selling points for on-demand solution is about cost, because you're just paying for the services you received or the services that was offered to you. So I don't think cost is very aspect that could be challenging. In fact, it gives you more flexibility around cost.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. Please go ahead and type your questions in the chat box. Presenters, please look at the chat box and answer more questions. Thank you. Do we have Dr. Sani Muazu? Dr. Sani Muazu? Dr. Sani, are you here? Okay, if Dr. Sani is not here, is Dr. Mutai Lawa, are you here? Are you ready? Dr. Lawa? Dr. Mutai Lawa? Is he not here?
So that why is not here?
Okay. Dr. Mohammed, are you here? Because we don't have time, so we can call up the next person online, and then later we can swap.
Okay,
Dr. Mohammed. Okay, please. Are you ready to present?
Okay, I need to, because let me quickly check my slides. Okay. Sorry, I'm trying to share my screen, but I'm having technical issues.
Okay, there. if you look at the top, top. Okay, I think Dr. Lawa is coming.
Share. All right.
Okay, yeah, go ahead, click on it.
Yeah, screen, window, or tab. Choose what to share, but after clicking on it, it's not.
Click on the windows and look for the slide. You need to open it first. Open the document first, and then click on that share.
Okay. What's happening? Let me rejoin again. I don't know. It's open.
Okay. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. Dr. Muazu, are you here? Mutai Lawal, I think yes, I saw you. Yeah, please, can you share your slide and make your presentation? Are you ready?
Okay.
Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead and make presentation.
Okay. Okay, can you see my slide?
Yes, we can. Go ahead, please.
All right.
Go ahead, please.
All right. Good afternoon. Welcome to my presentation. So I'll be looking at hydrocarbon generation potential of the companion to menstruation sequences in the Sokoto Basin, northwestern Nigeria. So this is so I'll be looking at the problem statement.
Doc, yeah. Can you put it on slide presentation mode?
Okay, let's see. Is that okay? Is that okay?
Not yet. On full screen, on full slide.
Yes, I put it on full slide here. So
maybe you have two screens.
No, one screen. I have it. Let's see. I have only one screen here. Can you see?
We
maybe
can
just
still see the
continue.
window. Just click on maybe slides and start from the current.
Okay.
Slides. Click on the slides tab. No, the last one. Go to the last one. Not that.
Yeah. Not
no,
this
the
one.
last one. After the 100%.
Yeah.
Yes, after the 100%.
Yes, I'm there.
Click on it. Not yes, the one after the 100%. Click on it.
Yeah, I'm here, but this is what is showing.
No, click on it. You haven't clicked on it.
After the 100, I clicked.
Yes, after the 71% now. Yes, click.
Yeah, I clicked, but that's all.
You
can see. Maybe.
Sorry, she has to click on the one after that minus.
Okay.
The one after the minus, like that look like a wine cup. Yeah, thank you.
Can you see? Maybe I should reshare, right?
I think you are sharing the Windows, the document, not the Windows. Yeah.
Yeah. So let me see. Again, let me share times. Entire screen. Can you see? Can you see the screen?
Yes, you can go to this. Now go to the top, please. See slideshow. Slideshow.
Is it okay
at the title bar? No, go to the title bar. You see slideshow.
Okay.
Title bar, slideshow. Yes.
Yeah.
Then go to the first one from the beginning. From the beginning. The
right.
first one. The first one.
Yeah, I can see it from here, but.
Okay, no problem. Go ahead with your presentation because of time.
Okay, can you?
Don't worry.
Can you
go
see?
Ahead.
Can you see my slides from there?
Yes, yes, we can see. Just go ahead. Proceed.
All right. Please, on which slide?
Number 2.
Okay. So the talk today will center on what's really the problem of research. Then we look at some of the results we have generated and conclusion. So this is a regional map of Sokoto Basin. And the stuff or the area colored in green represent areas where hydrocarbon has been discovered. So this is the West African Rift System or Rift Zone. So all these places.
It's not moving. I'm sorry to interrupt you, Doctor. It's not, the slide is not moving.
Okay,
you are still on slide 2.
Let me quit presentation mode. And
yeah, we can see it now.
Can you see this one? We
can see it now. Yeah, slide 3. Yeah.
Yeah, I think this will be better.
Go ahead.
I don't know, for some reason, I cannot show the full screen. So this is the Rift Zone, West African Rift Zone. The areas in green are the area where hydrocarbon has been found. So this is the Sokoto Basin here, the little red bounded area. So it's about 76 kilometers squared, 76,000 kilometers squared. The problem here is that the sedimentology is poorly constrained. So what do we do when the sedimentology is poorly constrained and Nigeria is still looking forward for more petroleum finds. So here we are asking ourselves in a basin, what is the requirements do you need to look for to have petroleum? So the objective of this study is basically divided into two. One, to constrain the sedimentology better using Fasci's analysis approach. The second one would be hydrocarbon prospectivity of the basin. Basically, we'll be evaluating source rock potential and describe the reservoir characteristics or potential. So a lot of work has been done in the past. This is part of my own research. We have looked at the sedimentary sequences in this basin. So this is the map pointing to the Ilumeden Basin, which is the mother basin where Sokoto Basin is located. So the Sokoto Basin is somewhere around here. So this is the stratigraphy. The oldest in the basin is the Gundumi Formation that is rich in sandstone. This is the Rima group, the companion to Maastrichtian age, comprising Taloka, Dukmaje, and Wuruno Formation. And this is the overlying Paleocene sequences, including the Dange Formation, Columbine Formation, and Gamba shales. Above them is the red colored or the brownish zone made up of sandstone, and that is the Gwandu Formation. Few authors, Adeleye and Kobbe, has worked on the sedimentary sequences of Sokoto Basin. But here we also have Whiteman have looked at the hydrocarbon potential of the basin, and where he said there is not much prospect. But using new advances in sedimentology, such as the one provided here, Fasci's model, we are able to locate stratigraphically which areas are more likely to have petroleum accumulation. So we use the field method, which is logging the outcrops. In addition, we also have core data, which is only limited to the Paleocene interval, which is Dange Formation. So the overall aim is that the field approach, Fascist analysis, will give us sequence stratigraphic architecture of the basin, while the hydrocarbon aspect will be looking at source rock potential. So this is the diagram here can be used to evaluate source rock potential, whether you have type 1, type 2, type 3. Type 1 is the one many countries and organizations, especially the oil companies, are looking for, which is, in that case, you have more oil. And type 4 is the one you don't want to have, which is you have gaseous, or inert organic matter. So this is the template for evaluating source rock, either as poor or as excellent. So the results of the Fascist analysis, basically in the Ruma groups, which is the companion to Maastrichtian, the Taloka Formation is made up of siltstones and lignite overlain by sandstones and with a little bit of mud. This has been interpreted as deltaic intertidal coastal plain environment, and the overlying formation, which is the Dukamaje Formation, is made up of gypsiferous shale and limestone. So these have echinoids and brachiopods, so pelecypods. So we have used this present to interpret shallow marine environment. And the next one is the Wuruno Formation, which is just like the Taloka Formation, made up of alternating siltstones and mudstones with some sandy lenses. This has been interpreted as intertidal environment. So the next on the slide is the Paleocene Dange Formation, which is a thick shale unit, also rich in fossil bones and gypsum. The base of the top of this unit is bounded by a fossiliferous rich zones with ophiomorpha. So this is interpreted as marsh to shallow marine environment. So this is a result of the organic petrography. So we have elements of phytoclast, the main and mineral matter. The main maceral indicates the presence of vitrinite. And so perhaps after evaluating the rock-eval analysis or pyrolysis, we have generated some results, and the explanations are that the Taluka Formation mainly have a lignitic unit that is high in total organic carbon, what is responsible for hydrocarbon formation. So it has up to 5%. And in the Dukemaje Formation, nothing much was found. So overall, the Dange Formation are the one that possess some quality of good hydrocarbon, TOC, and good quality of having the capacity to generate hydrocarbon, this area here. So if it is below, then it will be fair or poor hydrocarbon potential. So this is overall sequence stratigraphic architecture of the Sokoto Basin. So our focus is the Taluka Formation, which is a low stand system struct overlain by the transgressive unit of the Dukamaji Formation. And the Wuruno Formation is divided into two. We have a low stand at the lower part and a transgressive unit at the upper part. Then the full marine transgression is achieved at the Dange Formation. So the hydrocarbon potential based on rock-eval is that we have poor to fair and are more promising in the gas-prone shales of the Paleocene Dange Formation. A part of the Taluka Formation has good source rock potential, capable of generating oil if it matures. So this is our conclusion based on organic geochemistry and sequence stratigraphic analysis of the Maastrichtian to Paleocene successions in the Sokoto Basin. These deposit studies are product of marine and transgression, representing marginal to shallow marine environment in the late Cretaceous. So the important find here is that the transgressive unit or these transgressive sequences of the Dange Formation, which has thick shale that they have high and promising source rock potential, and their source has the potential to generate gas based on the TOC level and the vitrinitic material that are more dominant within the samples that we studied. So this presentation has some limitation in the sense that it does not cover the whole basin, and only the Dange Formation has core data, which is most likely to preserve the hydrocarbon organic matter, which is the material that is actually going to be responsible for hydrocarbon formation. So it means that in the Taluka Formation, where we have seen indication of high TOC that can generate oil, so more coring campaign is advised to focus on this Taluka Formation. So in the overall analysis, Nigeria is looking forward to improving on its hydrocarbon resources, and gas has been identified as an important area where we can leverage. Thank you for listening.
Okay, thank you so much. Any questions? Do we have any questions? Dr. Uchenna, are you still here? We have some questions for you. Is Dr. Ewu still here? Okay. Okay, while we wait for questions for Dr. Mutali Lawal and Dr. Ewu, Dr. Mohammed, please, can you start setting up your presentation?
So while we're waiting for Dr. Mohammed to come online, so this
I am online. I'm just having issues with sharing. I don't know why it's not connected.
Yeah. So Dr. Lawal.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any question for you so far. So you can stop sharing.
Okay.
And allow Dr. Mohammed to share. Meanwhile, if there's any question for you, you'll be allowed to address the question.
All right. Thank you very much for the opportunity, Dr. Chooks.
Okay. Badari, who do you have question for? Is it go ahead with your question?
Yes, sir. My question is to Dr. Lawal. Thank you very much for the presentation, and it's a very wonderful one.
All right, thank you.
An interesting presentation. My question is, do you actually employ a certain method as to carry out a detailed, to give us a detailed data for us to understand better the composition and the level of reserve in the basin?
Okay, thank you for the question. Right?
Yes, sir.
Is that all?
Yes, sir. If possible.
Okay, so like I said, the study is mainly based on outcrop samples for the Maastrichtian, companion to Maastrichtian section of the basin. Then for the Paleocene sections, we have outcrop and core data. The method, the overall research, or the bigger scale of the research, employs geochemical, which include pyrolysis, rock river pyrolysis, and we have also PYGC. The results are not presented here. Then we have done a petrological examination of the organic or the kerogen, and we have seen vitrinite materials that indicate type 3 organic matter. So we have other data or results that were not shown here because it's out of scope of this presentation, including SRD and SEM. This SEM, for instance, will give us an opportunity of giving you the pore morphology of the reservoir units, especially in the Taluka and the Wurno sections. We also have an ongoing research looking at the using SRD, looking at the clay types and the clay mineralogy of these sequences in the Sokoto Basin. So we have something bigger. I did not display all of it. Some of them are still in the pipeline. I hope that suffices.
Okay, can I come in to shed more light?
Dr. Kande, go ahead.
Yeah, to add to what Dr. Mutari said, in order to fully answer your question, in the hydrocarbon value chain, we have about five different steps. So the first one is exploration, followed by appraisal, followed by development, and followed by production, and followed by decommissioning. That is the head life of the hydrocarbon chain. So this project is on exploration stage, which is stage number 1. In order to proceed to getting reserve for the hydrocarbon in the basin, we need to get to step number 3, which is development, where we are going to come with a field development plan. And before we can achieve that, we need to drill a well in Sokoto Basin in order to get more information about the subsurface geology in the basin. So we are in level stage number 1. So we still have 2 more stages ahead in order to get to reserve estimation. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Wahid. So you have hit the nail on the head. And again, just to remind Dr. Badri that we don't have seismic lines shot yet across the Sokoto Basin. So this will really help in a more detailed exploratory experiment in the basin. Thank you for the question.
Okay, thank you so much. I just want to say to the audience, if a conversation is outside your field, be patient. There are some people that will hear. Okay, when we get to your field, that's why this is multidisciplinary. GreenSTEM is about bringing all the fields together to have a conversation.
Okay, I have one more.
Thank you so much.
Sorry, Doctor. Dr. Abubakar Muhammad.
Dr. Abubakar Muhammad.
Yes, I can hear you, Dr. Lawal.
Yeah, maybe you can send me your slide. If you can see it from here, then I will be like, putting it across for you. Then you just present.
Okay. All right, that's fine.
I'm online then.
Okay, I'll do that. I'll do that.
Okay, Dr. Elwo is no longer here. There are a couple of questions for him. Okay, he's still here. Anyway, he's on holiday, so please just bear with us. And
Dr. Lawal, please check your phone.
All right, I got
my presentation.
Yeah, I got the slides you sent. Okay, I got your slides. Can you hear me? Dr. Muhammad.
I don't know. Yeah, I can hear you clearly.
Okay, I'm going to share your slides, so you tell me if you can see. Can you see your slides?
No. Yeah. I can see it clearly.
You just tell me next when it's next.
All right. Once again, thank you so much. I'm Dr. Mohammed Abubakar Mohammed, and I'll be presenting petrophysical study of labidolite pegmatite in Lema, Idu local government of Kwara State. Next slide. Next slide, please.
Yes, it's done.
All right. The material or the minerals called labidolite is gray or rosy colored member of microgroup of minerals. It is mostly abundant lithium bearing mineral and a secondary source of this metal. It is a major source of alkaline metal. Labidolite is rare lithium rich micro mineral that is usually purple, red, or pink in color. The aims and objectives of this study is to actually carry out geochemical and petrological analysis of this material. One is to carry out the study on its intersection. Also, to observe the labidolite pegmatite under a plain polarized light PPL. And lastly, to observe the labidolite pegmatite under a cross-polarized light XPL. Next, please. The geology of Lema Idu local government is made up of Precambrian basement complex rock, partly Cretaceous recent sediments of Bida Basin. These Cretaceous recent sediments of Bida Basin occupy the north half of the study area and are largely composed of recent alluvia which cover bank of the turbulence and floodplain of Niger River sedimentary rock, Nupi sandstone. The basement complex of this area unit occupy the southern half of the area, composing of granite, gneiss, and metamorphic rocks. Next slide, please.
All right.
The pegmatites in the study area, Lema is actually in the northern part of Kwara State, which from the capital Ilorin city is ranging between 180 to 200 kilometers. The field observation suggested that pegmatites are complex type with well-developed zoning. The intermediate zone composed of K-feldspar and occasionally mineralization of wolfmite were observed. And lithium mica is prominent here and is mostly found as rarely in the welded profile and also associated with the kaolinite layers. Mineralization is sometimes found associated with weathered kaolinite material rich in lepidolite, which are occasionally preserved due to their high resistance to weathering. Next slide. Okay, we have the map of Nigerian showing the study area. That's the Kwara State, the pegmatite veins, which we've seen the way it actually run across down to Kwara State, and also the second map, which shows the geological map of part of Lafiagi schist, showing Lema in the box, the pegmatite field in Lema. Next slide. Okay, the methodology adopted in this research was to take fresh sample collections. The representative sample of the lepidolites, the pegmatite, was labeled in L1, L2, and L3, which were collected from three different locations using, of course, our geological hammer, chisel, sample bags, and the GPS. The samples were then sent to the nearby laboratory, which is the University of Ilorin, for the petrological analysis. And the results were displayed as follows. We have the first one, which is the LPPL for the first sample, L1. And then just by the right side, we have the XPL for the L1 as well. These are the photomicroscopic graph of sample under the plane and cross polarized light. The same thing for the second sample, the L2. We have by the left, we have the PPL, and also the SPL by the right. Also the same. It's under the both on the plane and the cross polarized light. Next slide. Okay, for the last sample, which is the L3, it's just similar with what we've done with the first and the second sample. By the left, we have the SPL here. Then by the right, we have the PPL, all on the same, to achieve the same aim of petrographical analysis of the samples. So the next slide, we'll be talking about the estimated mode composition of the lepidolite pegmatite in the area, in the study area. We have the quartz in the L1, that is in location 1, carrying almost 50%, and also the same in location 2. But in location 3, it's less with 15%. And we have the biotite also seen in L1. Then for the L2 and L3, the biotite is absent there. And the muscovite, it's we have no muscovite in the L1, but for the L2 and L3 we have that. So for the PPL description, the quartz muscovite mica and the biotite mica, you can see the first pass too, were the major rock forming minerals based on their characterization on that field. The quartz usually in this area are colorless with very low relief and no cleavage with absence, and the grain size is ahenderite. Then the biotite in L1 is light brown in color which stand out with a very moderate relief and a strong periosm with a plain grain sharp and one direction cleavage. The muscovite is brownish red to red in color, with very moderate to strong periosm and one direction cleavage, with very low to moderate relief. For the XPL description, the sample under the cross-polarized light shows property such as preference and extensions. The quartz display low interference color, which usually it's undisclosed distinction, which indicates dislocation walls in mineral grain. And this usually is identified by the abilite twinning, which gives a rare fine lemon and very low birefringence. The muscovite is anisotrophic with very low to moderate birefringence. Next slide. That's the conclusion. Next slide, please.
All right.
The three samples, as I've said earlier, were composed of quartz, muscovite biotite, with the average percentage of 38%, in some areas 16%, 4%, and 2% respectively. And we have the geological relationship of these minerals discovered to be lepidolite, suggested that lepidolite may not be the dominant mineral in this area. Actually, the reason why we decided to carry out this research was the influx of the artisanal miners in the areas of the local government and Patigi. Over the time, we've seen trucks moving some of these materials, which we actually do not know what's actually going on there. But we have to, from our own side, have to go in there and see what is actually going on for us to ascertain what is being mined there. And it was actually detected that the license covering that area is for some different sort of minerals. But by the time we go in and we discover with our analysis and laboratory analysis, we discovered that the material being moved in this area is lepidolite, which we were able to confirm that using the petrophysical analysis for this study. Thank you so much for listening.
Yeah, thank you so much for the presentation. Okay, we have a question. Do you have a question, Dr. Kande? Go ahead with your question.
Thank you, Dr. Abubakar, for your presentation. What actually excited me to listen to your talk is the fact that it has significant of petrographic analysis, which most of the young geologists always try to run away from. So give kudos to you for taking the bold step to do this, carry out this kind of analysis. However, my question is why lepidolite? Why lepidolite pegmatite? If you check your conclusion, like you said, and again for your conclusion, and again from your the mode description in terms of abundance of the mineral components in your rocks that you analyzed. So one would expect that because if you say lepidolite granite are pegmatite, which are more like granite, one would expect that the most abundant mineral that you get in your analysis is lepidolite. And from your description under either plain polarized light or cross polarized light, but I haven't seen that. So why?
It depends on the first thing. We could not go the sample depth also matters so much. Some of these minerals, the way it works, it all depends on the grade of the sample you are getting, and also the geology of that area. So I didn't actually mention the depth at which we got our samples for analysis, but basically the artisanal miners have exposed some of these pits. It's not that maybe we have to do our own pitting, but to go in there and analyze from the pits that have been in existence. Part of the things that have actually gone into that, the factor there is the rainfall and so on and so forth. It has been exposed over time. So what we have at that surface is what we were able to generate from that. And if you agree with me that the same pegmatite vein that we're talking about in Lema actually cuts across down from Kogi, Okoloke Aziz down to Patigi, and it's crossed that down to this area. So at that Aziz, you know, it's well exposed. Even in the Patigi Aziz, is more exposed there, where you can actually see the this nuclear pin. But at Lemon, let me say this, that we choose this area because of the less influence of these artisanal miners, because in the other Aziz we have them in thousands, like 20 to 30,000 of them operating in the Patigi Aziz. So the Lemon Aziz, they are not much. So we're able to go in for our research work, and then due to the exposure of this the pits, that's what causes some of these the minerals that have been welded actually. And then for the lepidolite, where that's our concentration, it's actually not of higher grade than what we have over there. I think some of, and in some pits they're having 2% of it, 4% less. We've not had anything above 6% in that area.
Yeah, I think it's okay. So we continue conversation on this later on, because I'm also interested in why it is pegmatite and not granite. So, but let's save the time for the audience. Thanks so much.
All right, thank you.
Sorry, if I
Yeah.
may comment.
Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead. I want to believe that when we talk of lithium or lithium minerals, they're actually found in pegmatite, not in granite. So, and pegmatite, mostly the one that carries all these rare earth metals, they are mostly found in granitic pegmatite. And that's why we center our focus on pegmatite. And I will say and add this to it, that we're not able to carry out some detailed geochemical analysis due to the fact that there are no laboratories that will carry out some detailed geochemical analysis like the ICPMS, mostly done abroad for geochemical analysis of rare earth metals. So that's why, but we are still working on getting more detailed results from the geochemical aspect of it. I don't know if that also add to what you want to know, sir. Thank you.
Sorry, Dr. Chukuma, don't let us talk it to complete your science discussion.
Okay.
So,
thank you so
we'll
much.
continue later. Yeah.
We appreciate the knowledge you people are sharing with us. We value it. So what will happen now is that we'll go on break and come back at a few minutes to maybe let's just say the next presentation will take place 1:10, and that will be from Dr. Jamilu Usman. So Dr. Jamilu Usman, make sure that you are here before that time to set up so that you can start on time. So go and grab your lunch, eat your lunch, and we'll be back at 1:10. Thank you so much. You can leave your system, you can log out and log in later. Anyone is okay. See you later.
Okay, thank you.
Right, welcome back, everyone. Hope we had a nice lunch. So we're going to make progress with our presentations. Our next speaker is Jamilu Usman, who will be speaking to us on optimizing membrane performance through machine learning. Jamilu, are you on, please?
Yeah, I'm available. Thank you for the introduction. Shall I carry on?
Hello, Jamilu, are you on,
Yeah,
please?
yeah. Are you with me?
Yes, we can hear you.
One more call to Jamilu.
Okay.
Optimizing
I'm trying to share my slides. I don't know. Can you get it?
Through machine
Yes, we
learning.
can see your slides. Dr. Perpetua.
Jamilu is not in.
No, he's in. Sorry. Hello, Dr. Jamilu.
Yeah. Hello,
Just
can you
hold
hear
on.
me?
It seems she's having some network issues.
Dr. Perpetua, you are muted. You are muted. Dr. Jamilu is here. Dr. Jamilu, go ahead and
so
start.
I don't know. Am I the one in charge of controlling the slides, or I have to ask you guys?
Yes. Go ahead and control your slides.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone.
Hi, everyone. So welcome back. Hope you had a great lunch. So our next speaker, as you
Dr.
can see on the
Perpetual.
screen,
Hello,
is
Dr.
Jamilu
Perpetual.
Usman, who will be speaking to us, sharing his knowledge on
Somebody need to maybe call Dr. Perpetual on phone. She's having an issue with her network.
Hello, can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you, but I think there's a network issue with the coordinator. So yeah, we need to address that first. Otherwise, she will come back and start talking.
So
can you hear me, please?
Dr. Chukuma or Dr. Lawal, anybody, can you call Dr. Perpetual on her phone, please?
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you. Dr. Perpetual, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you now. Apologies. Yeah, I didn't know I was on mute. Okay. So thank you, everyone, once again for coming back after lunch. Hope you had a great lunch. So our next presenter is Jamilu Usman, who will be speaking to us on optimizing membrane performance through machine learning. So Dr. Jamilu, you have 15 minutes presentation, which includes questions. So I will advise that you limit your presentation to 11 to 12 minutes so that you can have 3 minutes of questions. Over to you, please.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. I am happy to present you my research optimizing membrane performance machine learning, prediction of MOF membrane for efficient oily wastewater separation. My name is Jamil Usman, and I'm talking to you from Interdisciplinary Center of Membrane and Water Security in King Fahd University of Petroleum in Saudi Arabia. So this is the outline of the presentation, the method, the results, and discussion, the conclusion, and then we'll wrap it up with the acknowledgement as well as the references. So as you all know that a lot of oily wastewater is being discharged into the environment due to exploration activities. And part of this oily wastewater has some harmful effects into our environment, especially the aquatic life as well as the agricultural environment. So there are some traditional methods usually used in treating this oily wastewater, but however, they have some limitations such as long time of separation rates and increase in falling. So in current development, there is this membrane technology which can be used to separate oily wastewater in a faster way and with minimal foiling as well. So one of the materials used in developing these membranes are the metal organic frameworks, particularly the UI66 NH2. So this membrane is very good in developing membranes, but however, it has some little issues which has to do with the instability and defects. So in this current study, we developed a polydopyamine to stabilize this MOF membrane so as to enhance the stability as well as the performance of the membrane. This is the experimental part of the research, but the machine learning which I'm presenting part of the research here is we want to use the machine learning to predict and optimize the membrane performance using some machine learning algorithm, which are the support vector machine and decision tree algorithms. So this is the proposed method used in achieving this research. The first one is the machine learning models input. We have the pressure, the volume, and the oil concentration. These are the inputs for the machine learning application, and then the outputs are the flux, rejection, and rejection. So the machine learning techniques use the use of support vector machine learning and then the decision tree algorithm. So in terms of the handling the data, we pre-process the data, and then we divide the data into the training and the testing sets. And then we use some performance matrix to evaluate the accuracy as well as to check the errors of the membranes, sorry, of the machine learning application that we have done. So if you look at the figures here, we have A and B. The A represents the experimental part of the research, from which we get our data, and then we feed it to the B, which is the machine learning part of the research. So, our preliminary results, these are the preliminary results we gained from the results from the experiment. And then you can see there is this correlation matrix, which is in figure A and B. This is correlation matrix trying to check the correlation between the input variables and the output variables, of which you can see pressure and volume, they are positively correlated with the flux. However, there is trade-off between high rejection in terms of the concentration of the oil. So also you can see some tables here. The table 1 represents the effects of pressure with respect to the flux and rejection. So the SVM model has high effect with respect to pressure in terms of the flux. You can see it has a R-square value of around 1, which is 0.991, and also has a minimal error. So in terms of the concentration, the SVM model has rejection of around 0.98 and also a minimal error. You can see the mean absolute error at the end, second to the last. So furthermore, we use some radial plots as well as bar plots to represent the outputs of the models, in which the SVM model outperforms the DT model in predicting the membrane performance, particularly in the flux and the rejection rate with higher accuracy and lower error rate, making it more reliable for optimizing oil separation processes. Furthermore, we use the radial and the bar plots along with the statistical matrix to confirm these models' precision and the minimal bias while reinforcing its effectiveness as tool for real-time optimization in membrane technology studies. So in conclusion, the outcome of the study demonstrated that the SVM models significantly outperform the DT models in predicting the performance of these membranes. And the implication of the study is that the SVM model exhibits superior accuracy as well as reliability. So the advantage of this SVM is that it has low rates as well as minimal bias, while the broader impact is that the integration of the advanced machine learning techniques like the SVM into membrane technology will represent a significant step forward in addressing the challenges of oily wastewater treatment while promoting more sustainable and efficient industrial processes. So in the future direction, we are looking at finding or suggesting a further exploration of FVM model as well as other machine learning algorithm, so as to refine as well as to expand the application in the environmental engineering and beyond, while paving the way for more innovative solutions in membrane science technology. So at the end, I would like to appreciate our university, King Fahd University of Petroleum and Minerals, and also our research center, Interdisciplinary Research Center for Membrane and Water Security, for their kind support. These are the references used during preparing of the slides, and thank you so much.
Thank you very much for that presentation. Before I come to Julius, I think we have a question from Chikuma from the text. It says, can this ML technique be adopted on a molecularly imprinted polymer, MIP, method in terms of faster detection?
What do you say? Can you say that again, please?
Can this technique be adopted on a molecular imprinted polymers method Can it be adopted?
Yeah, it can be adopted because ML machine learning can be in terms of classification. So it can be adopted depending on the outcome you want. It can be adopted. You know, we have so much. We have plenty machine learning. Not only these few ones. We have a lot of them. We have GPR. We have SVM. We have DT, and the rest of them.
Yeah. Okay, great. So so you're saying that can be designed for faster detection.
Yes, as long as you have some input that you can feed in, so as to project your proposed output.
The outcome, yes. Okay.
Yes.
Great. Over to you, Julius, for your question, please.
Hello, Doctor. Thank you for a great presentation. I like you know, the idea of bringing machine learning into this. So I was just wondering, as you said, there are quite a few machine learning models out there, and I'm wondering why you narrowed down to SVM and decision trees. What informed your decision, please?
Yeah, one of the reasons is because this SVM and decision tree are very good in predicting small data, because the data we have here is not much data. So they are good in prediction of some small data, like, let's say, data that are not more than 20. But in terms of data that are very much, you can use AMFIS model, you can use ANN and other models as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Wahid, please.
Thank you for your presentation, Doctor. As you are aware that environmental pollution or degradation is a major threat to the Niger Delta oil producing communities.
Exactly.
So in terms of local content or applicability of your model, so have you, I don't know where your case study is, but have you tried to take this technology back home to deploy it in maybe like in Niger Delta area or something, or what's your plan?
Yeah, this is our main target, but the main issue we are having is the data. If we can get data from the Niger Delta, then we can work on that. I don't know if you have access to such kind of data from the Niger Delta, then we can work over that. But for this research, it's a lab-based research, the one we have done now.
Yeah, for sure you can upscale it. So I'm sorry, I can't help. Thank you.
Yeah,
I think maybe you have some access to Niger Delta in terms of the region where those.
Yeah, so just wanted to ask if it's possible for you to, if you're able to find, in terms of literature, why you can find such data.
Yeah, exactly.
If you reach out to them, yeah, it might be worth a trip down there.
Yeah, another alternative is to use the data from the literature, of course. We can do that. Yeah, so we can scale it up to sub-regions.
Yeah, okay, great. Before then, you can now proceed in settling or designing a case study, choosing a particular area in Niger Delta for case study.
I think we can have a collaborative talk with respect to this for those that are interested.
Yeah. Hello. 1 minute. So you have our info, our email address on that flyer. So if you send that, it will come to us, the committee members, and of course, this is what we are here for, to collaborate, to improve, to innovate challenges in our country, Nigeria.
Sure, no issue, no problem.
Thank you very much. Ayo, Abayomi.
Yeah. Yeah, can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah, thank you very much for your quite innovative discussion, especially in terms of metal oxide framework. And considering the fact that the pollution in terms of waterways is becoming so much enormous, and in order to curtail this is now becoming so difficult, even for environmental scientists. But my question is this: if we look at MOS and comparing it with MIP, which are molecularly imprinted polymer, and the technology in which both of these two things this technique work is more or less like the selectivity is targeted towards certain kind of pollutant. So now my point is this. Have you in practical or on a laboratory scale, have you been able to test or design any of these MOS based detectors that could really capture most of these organic pollutants from our petroleum industry? And if indeed, what is their sensitivity in terms of detection? That's one key thing. And however, how viable are these detectors working? Because if they are not viable, then there's no point in bringing in the machine-based learning technique in order
exactly.
to detect them.
This is a very great question. I am happy to inform you that this research, the experimental part of this research, has been published already in ACS interface.
Okay.
So I can also share the
no,
link.
To be honest with you,
So
I have no question. I have no ulterior motive regarding the authenticity of the research, because I know MOFs, they does work. But I also know that from research, MIP is also something that's now being incorporated in medical industry right now. But I just believe that you are now bringing in technology, IT into it. I think it's a very nice, innovative way, and I believe that's where research should channel towards. But my point is, your technology will not work if they are not living data to really test most of these things. So, and that's why, like, as if it has been tested, which do you have an algorithm that in which you got data from, probably from a very, it might not be an international research lab, probably from the meteorological data points, you just get data from them and then you just try and incorporate it to this your algorithm. If it does work, then this is a big thing.
Right.
That would be a future work. Well, as far as the work we have performed here, we have performed a laboratory work in which we develop membrane from this morph, and then we improve this membrane using this polydopamine, and then we see a very good improvement in terms of the stability as also the separation efficiency. That is why I say this work has been published already. So I'm just trying to give you the machine learning part of the work that we have done. Thank you so much for the questions.
Thank you very much. Yeah, thank you very much. Sorry, because I have to come in, but because of our time, we'll have to proceed. Thank you for everyone that asked questions. Thank you to our presenter, Jamilu. You can see it's very interesting topic. And so thank you very much once again. So our next presenter is Alice. Alice, are you ready, please? If you stop sharing, Jamilu, that would be
I've stopped sharing.
Really, appreciated. Thank you.
Dr. Tukuma, can you share Alice's presentation? I think she's joining on her phone, so she may not be able to share.
Good afternoon.
Hi, Alice, are you here? Is that Alice?
Yes, she is. I think she's trying to speak. Dr. Tukuma, can you share her presentation?
Good afternoon, everyone. Hello, are you getting me? Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon, Alice.
Good afternoon, everyone.
We can hear you.
Right, so can you share your presentation? Or Dr. Tukuma, can you share on her behalf, please?
Is Dr. Tukuma responding?
Okay, no, he's not. So
okay, let me share it. I think I have it here. Let me share it for her.
You have it, okay. Awesome. While we are doing that, Dr. Bibian, please, can you get ready so that we don't lose time? Thank you.
Please, I'm from Taraba State. So I'm Alice Jorki Mafe from Taraba State.
Yes, so if you can hold on, let your presentation be shared, and then you can begin. Thank you.
Let me know when you can see my screen.
We see your screen. Yes, now we see it.
Alice, I'm sharing your screen now, so I'm on slide 1 if you want to start.
All right, thank you. I'm very grateful. So I'm Alice Jorki Mafe from Taraba State University, and I'm a PhD student in Nasarawa State University currently. And I'm here on this Green STEM Symposium to share on the topic, leveraging local fruit juice production in Taraba State for industrialization and socio-economic development of Nigeria. In this presentation, we will delve into the transformative potential of leveraging local fruit juice production in Taraba State as a catalyst for industrialization and socio-economic development in Nigeria. By tapping into the rich agricultural resources of the state, we aim to showcase how fruit juice production
network
can development. Now, Taraba State is blessed with a lot of fruits. We have so many fruits in Taraba State that can help to boost and provide solid foundation for fruit juice production in the state. The establishment of fruit juice processing plant in Taraba State can kickstart a very good industrialization process in the state, and this can contribute to Nigeria's economic diversification efforts in the future. Taraba State is like its nature's gift to the nation. Is blessed with a lot of land and good soil for fruit trees production in the agricultural sector. And most of these fruits every year end up being rotten because of lack of harvest and proper use. So this research aims to seek a way of harnessing these fruits for juice production, which will help to solve problems of food spoilage in the state. So the fruit juice industry has the potential to uplift local communities by creating jobs, supporting farmers, and boosting income generation. Now, by adding value to local produce through fruit juice processing, Nigeria can explore export opportunities and enhance its global market presence. Now, the health and nutritional benefits of these fruits, they are fruits that are locally produced and can promote wellness and sustainability, because those fruits are always available and they end up being rotten at the end of the day. Now, fruit juice production aligns with the need to diversify Nigeria's economy beyond oil and gas. Nigeria has been depending on oil and gas for a long time. We have other resources like these fruits. We can also work on them and make it one of the ways to get diversify our economy. Now, rural development. Investing in local fruit juice production can drive development in rural areas, empowering farmers and promoting inclusive growth. It can also help by this fruit juice production. It can empower youth as well. The industry can present opportunities for youth employment, entrepreneurship, fostering innovation and skill development process. If started, it can enhance environmental sustainability, because when this local food juice is supported, it encourages sustainable agricultural practices and environmental plants, typically containing seeds. They are characterized by their pulpy and juicy nature and are essential for plant reproduction. Now, what is the nutritional benefit of fruits? They are rich in vitamins, they are good in minerals like potassium and magnesium, and they are crucial for overall health and the immune system, and even for physiological balance of the body. Now, market significance of the fruit. The fruit juice is for healthy, convenient beverages, challenges that include spoilage and the need for preservations to extend the shelf life of these fruits. We have them in abundance in Taraba State, and we need them to be harnessed and used and not just end up being rotten and spoiled. Now, Taraba State is located in the northeastern Nigeria with a tropical climate ideal for food cultivation, and it presents an opportunity for economic development through local fruit juice production. Now, what's the problem? Up to 90% of harvested fruits in Taraba decay due to lack of processing infrastructure, which leads to significant waste. Now, the objective is to explore local food juice waste, support local industries, and enhance economic resilience. Now, the study area was the research was carried out in Taraba State. which supports diverse food cultivation, making it ideal for fruit juice production and then the processing. Fruit juice were cleaned, peeled, cut, and juiced. The natural preservatives were prepared and added to test their significance in preserving the juice quality. Hello?
We can hear you, Alice. Hello, Alice, we can hear you. Go on. Hello? Julius, are you there?
Yes, I am. Alice, maybe it's muted. Alice, can you hear us? Network, I think.
Yeah, I think she's frozen. Right.
Nigerian network.
I know. Someone needs to present on the solution. We need some research.
And nobody has spoken about it yet, up to now.
Alice, can you hear us? Because I think I saw her move now.
Hello, I think it's a matter of the location where the person is. If you're lucky, your internet connection is quite strong.
I discovered that the connection was interrupted.
Okay,
so now
carry on,
the
please.
fruit juice were cleaned, peeled, cut, and juiced.
Hello, Alice. It's gone again. Hello? Hello?
Yeah, she's frozen. So, right.
I think sometimes if you are using phone, anytime there is a call, it interrupts the connection and that takes you off.
Yeah. Alice, please, can you hear us? She's in the resource session. So, right. Since we cannot hear her anymore, I think we suggest that we proceed. Right. So, Dr. Bibian, are you ready, please? Right. Could we give her 2 more minutes up to 1:40?
Are you getting me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Are you getting me?
Yes.
Okay. Then is that the juice with natural preservatives showed better sensory attributes. The aroma, the flavor, the mouthfeel, they are very good as compared to the chemical preservative we use, which was the sorbic acid. So the natural preservative improves sensory quality appealing to consumers. Now, sensory quality, the natural preservative enhance sensory attributes of fruit juice, offering a more pleasant taste and aroma. The pH was also checked. The juices preserved with natural ingredients maintain a stable pH levels, crucial for quality and microbial safety. Now, the microbial safety, the total viable count and the total count were also carried out, and there was a very minimal and insignificant used local preservatives. Conclusion, natural preservatives like ginger, lime improve sensory quality and microbial safety of the food. So it is recommended that we promote the use of natural food preservatives in local juice production, and further research should be done to optimize preservatives combination and explore other natural means. So down here are the pictures of those fruits that they are got in Taraba State.
I think she has finished, but network is also disturbing
Yeah,
us. So
yeah. Thank you very much, Alice. I know you've done well to bring it to the last slide. We know you had some internet glitches, but thank you very much. Does anybody have any question, even though that we don't know if she can?
they can put the question up.
Could you please put the question in the chat, and then we will relay that to Alice and give you feedback. Yes, so it's 1:40, so we need to progress. So the next speaker is Dr. Bibian, who will speak from the University of Bath, who will be speaking on small molecule reduction with earth abundant group 2 compound. Over to you, Dr. Bibian. You have 10 to 12 minutes of presentation and 3 minutes of questions. Thank you. Could you share your slide, please?
Yeah.
Go ahead then.
I just hope it's the right one. Oh no, this is not. I am trying to get the right presentation.
Somebody is sharing.
Yes, these are the pictures of the fruits that are gotten from Taraba State. You can...
Hello, Alice. Alice, we're done. We're done with your presentation, and we came to the end. You can look at the chat and see if there are questions for you, or if there are questions, we'll bring it to you.
Right. So other presenters, could you please get your presentations ready before it's your turn, so that we can reduce idle time and lost times, please. Thank you.
Please just hold on. It seems where I saved the...
Who is sharing screen then? Somebody sharing your presentation, Bibian.
Yes, I'm trying to share it, but I don't know what's...
No, we can see your screen. We can see presentation.
What is being shared is not the particular one I'm trying to...
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I don't... Okay, let me stop sharing it. I'll save it on the desktop. I can imagine this is something I've already... Just bear with me.
And it is.
All right, let me see if I can see it on the desktop.
Right, please, Dr. Bibi, I'm sorry, but we have to move on because of our time. So when you find it,
I don't just know what's going on.
That's fine. Miriam Mohammed, if you're on, please could you share your screen and start your presentation while Dr. Bibian tries to sort that out behind the scene. So we have Miriam Mohammed, who will be sharing her knowledge and her research on tax, knowledge of compliance, attitude of Kano businesswomen in SME, small business enterprise, Northwest Nigeria. Over to you, Miriam, please.
Have you opened it up? Now go to the Zoom. Come to the Zoom.
Right. Are you there, Miriam?
Have you come to the Zoom? Try to
I think she will come soon. She's not here. She said her time is supposed to be not now. Right?
Right, I see.
I just text her, so she'll come.
Right. So do we have any other presenter on? Because we cannot keep an idle time, you see.
Move to the next speaker.
Yeah, so the next speaker we have is Dr. Chukuma. Dr. Chukuma, are you here? I don't even know where Chukuma is, to be honest.
Yes, I'm here. I am here.
Okay, great. Dr. Chukuma, please, can you share your presentation, share your research with us? Thank you very much.
Okay.
Okay, so here's Dr. Chukuma, who will be speaking to us on industrialization as the best systemic strategy to solving Nigerians' socio-economic problems. Dr. Chukuma, you have 12 minutes presentation and 3 minutes questions. So over to you. Thank you.
Okay, can you see my slide?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Thank you for the opportunity. I will be speaking on industrialization as the best systemic strategy to solve Nigerian socio-economic problems. So I know that you should not expect all those beautiful graphs you saw in all those technical presentations. So mine will be very, very soft. And the problem I'm trying to address in this presentation is that I observe that there is no systemic industrialization strategy in Nigeria that is visible to all. We could recall that during Dr. Raj Shankar's presentation, we could see the strategy of the German nation, or the Republic of Germany, on how they are approaching industrialization. The same thing if you go to US, UK, China, you could see their industrialization strategy. And people in primary school, they are already keyed into contributing towards that strategy. Another thing is that Nigeria has human and natural resources. So there's no doubt, it's very visible even to the blind. So the problem is that the systems, processes, and culture for systemic integration of inputs to improve the gross domestic product they are quite ineffective. And anytime you are watching the TV channels or Arise, you see so-called economists discussing the problems of Nigeria. It boils down to money, how CBN can alter the monetary policy and the GDP. No, for me, that is nonsense as far as I'm concerned, because until you grow the gross domestic product, you are not contributing to development of Nigeria, and all the economic speculations will not do anything. For me, my hypothesis is that it is the industrialization that is the integrating factor. So industrialization is going to integrate the entire Nigerian system and tie all the components, our natural resources, our culture, our religion, everything about us. Industrialization is going to tie all of them together. Okay, because Nigeria is conceptualized in my presentation as a system. And in a system, you basically have the system, you have inputs, you have processes within the system, and then you have output. So our output should be our gross domestic product, which is the overall product and services created in a geographical boundary called a nation or country. So discussing them, speculating about it will not create anything at all. Okay, so that is where the hypothesis I'm working with, and I believe that the best way to do it is to start systemizing research, innovation, and commercialization of research to create these products and services, and we could see that clearly in the German strategy. as presented by Dr. Raj. So I'm going to make this presentation using a concept I call Questelligence theory from my recent book. My recent book is titled Domain-Based Systems and Systematic Thinking. So I'm going to raise questions. I will not address the questions. That's the strategy here. Because when I raise the question, you can draw your own conclusions. That is what I want to do in this presentation. Now, we know that Nigeria is a very big country, more than 220 million people. Our GDP is now dropping due to the policies of the current government. They are trying to do good, but the system is boomeranging, and that's evidence of a very weak fundamentals. Because if you have a very strong industrial policy, when you are tweaking some policies, it will not have a very significant or exponential effect on the overall balance or equilibrium of the system. Now, we have our government, so many senators, so many reps, and of course, we know that our president is Bola Ahmed Tinubu. In case you are not from Nigeria, we speak English, and we have so much land allocated to us by the British, which is over 923 square kilometer. Of course, there is a change in our demography. A lot of people are now going to urban areas, developed areas, and our life expectancy for male, we have about 59.9 years, and for female, longer, they live about 63.3 years. So this is basically the overall information you can get about Nigeria. Now, in my recent book, which is Systems Thinking, I had a look at what Nigeria is doing in terms of sustainable development goal. And I can tell you that both the subnational government, I mean the state, and the federal government, they are not paying sufficient. I'm not talking about documentary evidence that they used to go to COP, okay, to go to all those COP and United Nations and events and just make documentation. I'm talking about a strategy that we can use to pursue development and keying into that sustainable development goal. And from permutation and combination of different domains of that sustainable development goal, you can see that you will not lack any idea in terms of developing the country. For instance, if you do the permutation and combination, I had about 131,071 combinations you can get, which means that you can focus on one of them, 17 of them individually. You can start combining them, education and gender, okay, education and clean energy, gender and clean water. So you can start making all those combinations. We are going to have over 131,000. So you're going to have so many ideas you can generate. Even local governments, state governments, they can generate so much ideas from the Sustainable Development Goal. So that's what I'm saying. And if you look at it, you see that Nigeria has been a great country even before the British came. If you read our history, you could see the Oyo Empire, the Benin Empire, the Enri Kingdom, and the Nok culture in Plateau side, and all of that. So there are technologies, there are innovation. Nigerians, we used to be very innovative. We need to be very creative. There was a time in the Benin Empire was one of the greatest empires across the globe. So what happened to Nigeria? Is basically because we've lost that spirit of innovation, that spirit of creativity, that spirit of industrialization. That is exactly what we lost. And we are finding it very, very difficult to go back to that route. And we must go back to that route to really take our place on the global stage. Now, if you look at the British culture, people keep complaining about the Britain, how they colonized Nigeria, and for me, I think that people should stop blaming the British, because currently we have everything, we have control. So what are we doing? And we have some heritage from the British rule. We have English language, which gives us access to a lot of countries. We have our civil service. We inherited an aspect of our religion. We have the Muslim religion that came from, that one is from the Saudi Arabian side and all that. But the British, of course, we inherited religion, and spirituality is very important as well. The educational system, we have the police force, the railway, and the massive land we have as Nigeria was allocated to us by the British. So we have something to be happy about to start with. And again, you see that Nigeria is a member of Commonwealth. These are things we inherited from British. So I don't believe in complaining and whining and saying, oh, without the British rule, we would have been. No, I don't believe that. My ideology is that we need to configure our systems and start industrializing the country. Now, if you look at our president, I don't know who is your favorite president, but my favorite president is Obasanjo. Obasanjo is an industrialist. Obasanjo came, and if you want to understand what I'm talking about, or the picture I have in mind when I'm talking about industrialization, look at what Obasanjo did in the banking sector. Look at what Obasanjo did in the anti-corruption sector. Look at what Obasanjo did with the telecommunications. Okay, let me just use those three sectors of our society. Okay, and you could see that maybe if corruption happened in the education sector, the EFCCC or ICPC will go after them. So if corruption happened in the agricultural sector, so that's what we are talking about, systemic approach. You create a system and have all the components of the system interacting. And once they begin to interact productively and effectively, you begin to have outputs. You begin to have good outcomes, good governance, and all this. Those are outcomes, and those are effects. They are not the causes. So the root or the brain box we need to fix, and then start integrating is the industrialization question. So we have how many minutes do I have?
5 minutes, please.
5 minutes. Oh, thank you. So we have Nigerians are very gorgeous people. We have our textiles and all of that. But the question is, how much of these textiles are we producing? The textile industry is an industry. How can we industrialize it? Industrializing the textile industry means we can use the petrochemicals we have to produce some polymer-based textiles. We can use the cotton we have to produce raw materials. So there are so much raw materials, and that's where you start talking about the supply chain of the textile industry. There are so much jobs that you are going to create. The textile will begin to be used in Nollywood, the franchise, people making movies, making bags, and all of that. If you go to Tesco, all of that, you see Spider-Man, shirts, bags, shoes, and all sorts of things. So industrialization is about looking at it from that perspective, where you begin to create things and begin to map a particular industry into other industries. What about our food? These are sumptuous meals, but how can we preserve it? Okay, if you go to superstores across the globe, you also see prepared meals. So Nigerians, we can also focus on feeding the world, and we have several delicacies that we can serve to the world. So again, the Nollywood is a good story about Nigeria, and it shows the Nigerian spirit. So the question is, can we replicate that Nigerian spirit in the Nollywood story? Because Nollywood is now the second largest movie industry in the world after Hollywood. It used to be Hollywood, Bollywood, and Nollywood, but Nollywood has overtaken Bollywood now. So it shows that Nigeria can actually do wonders when they can work with that spirit. So what of our sports sector? Our sports sector, there's a study on South Korea, and you could see that the sports sector alone, okay, you can use it to achieve all these, performance indicators they've shown here. You can see it on the right, on the blue distance. So it's called a soft power package. So you can use one industry to influence other industries, and that's what we are looking at, systemic approach. Okay, sports integrated to education, sports integrated to manufacturing, sports integrated to all other industries. So when we start thinking that way, and I believe that we can start making more headway. So very, very important. You see, in developed countries, they talk about allocating a portion of the GDP, to education or research and innovation. That should happen. In fact, if you look at the National Economic Forum, you see that the Ministry of Finance is not even in the National Economic Forum constitutionally. So the physical body controlling the national economic body is absent. And it tells us how we are thinking about the industrialization in company. Also, there is no scientific representative in the National Economic Forum. So it is just the governors and the CBN governors, and that's it. So when we are talking about the economy of the nation, we should start thinking about scientific approach. And in my book, I recommended also creating a national scientific council, okay, so that they can also be part of this national economic forum. That is when industrialization can be represented. Of course, the Ministry of Finance, which is in charge of the fiscal policies of the country, should also be on that national economic council. So moving ahead, what is the gap? We have all the raw materials. We have everything that countries are dying to get. What is the gap? The gap is industrialization. When we start systemizing, creating systems to turn these raw materials to goods and services, that is when we will stop being poor. And that is when we'll stop being hungry. So in summary, because of our time, I believe that Nigeria is richly endowed with human and natural resources. And I believe that until we develop systemic national industrialization policy that can integrate all these factors of sustainable development, we are not going to take our place. We are not going to grow at the pace we should be growing. So Nigeria should leverage systemic frameworks that experts across the globe have labored to create, to drive industrialization. And a good example of that framework is Sustainable Development Goals, and it should be mainstreamed into development of the country. So education, research, innovation should be allocated budgetary spending as a constitutional matter. So that is it. I believe that I will write more in the article I will present in the proceedings. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Chukwuma. That was very informative. Do we have any question? Yes, we do. So first, I'll go with Abba Yomi. Sorry, I murdered
okay.
Yomi.
Yeah, it's okay. Yeah. Thank you very much, Dr. Chukwuma, if that's your name, right?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, you indeed made the presentation quite soft, and by being soft, then you were able to dig out the unhealed wound of Nigerians on the aspect of industrialization and all of that. I must give it to you on that. But to be honest, I would say, I think Nigeria, if we all must be true to all ourselves, I think Nigeria have lost in the area of industrialization. And now the era we are in now is the era of technology. The era we are in now is the era of technology. And I'll take an insight from the newly designed refinery. If the refinery was built maybe 15 years ago, maybe I would have said Dangote is going to make profit. But today, advanced world are no longer even thinking about crude oil. As of January this year, every advanced country are thinking of hydrogen. So you could see how we are far behind. But that's not the discussion for today. This is a group where academia have met, and then we talk about academics. So to just harness where the problem lies, in my opinion, I would say I think Nigeria still need, irrespective of the fact that we have a lot of natural resources, I think we need to move away from the scope of being endowed. We now need to move to the scope of getting the Nigerian information in terms of education. Dr. Raj made a presentation earlier. I've been to Frankfurt before. Most of those top science institutes I've worked there before in Germany. To be honest, it is outside governmental base, and these are uniquely designed research institutes. So Germany invested in research. They did not invest in natural resources. And because of that, they could do a lot of technology that most biomedical or biogas plants all over the world are using today. I lived in Estonia for a couple of years. In Estonia today, the IT that NATO based on in terms of cyber security, all of it emanated from Estonian innovation. So every country has its own research base, which serves as a backbone to their country. I was part of that innovation through the Erasmus Mundus development about 5 years ago. It was it was a 10-year development program, and then they offered a lot of scholarship to students to harness. And today, Estonia was able to meet their 2050 target of IT. They met it in 5 years through internationals. That's education. So, but we are all here today. We are from different scope of academia. I think the most insightful thing that everybody should now be discussing, how can we have a strong educative base in Nigeria? And to conclude, in 2019, I was in Portugal. If you, maybe you must have, there's an institute called CENIMAT, that's the Center for Material Research, the biggest in the whole of Europe. The Nigerian Ministry of Education, they came on a tour that December. I was the only Nigerian working in that institute that year. And then to my surprise, the then Minister for Science and Technology, Ogunaya, so for you to say they don't have education, academia in their midst, they do have. The Honorable Minister Oguna was there. He was the one that led his team to Portugal that year. I happened to be the only Nigerian in the whole institute. And then we discussed a whole lot of stuff in PV industry and all of that. But to my surprise, when I heard or when I saw in the news, the only thing I could conclude is that those people who came, they just came on summer vacation or December vacation and not on an educative or a learning-based vacation, something like that. You understand? So my point is that people are there, they are well informed, they know the right place to go. But the point is, harnessing this thing by the government is something, I don't want to say it's not possible, but we are not just seeing it. But I will say it is possible because we have Covenant University doing great. We have Mountaintop University doing it. We have several researchers from Nigeria who have done, at least the only professor I've known in Nigeria who had cloned anything seedling in Nigeria is Professor Olukoya, which is the General Overseer of Mountain of Fire Ministry. So the man has done a great work. He's still the only one that has ever cloned gene today. To conclude, it's just that I just want to say, I think this conversation shouldn't end here. I think we need to then take it to a broader